T13 moving across Okinawa, T15 bubbling up in the Pacific, T14 nothing to write home about. That plus summer weather coming up in this edition of Soracast for August 6, 2026. Apologize first off for the audio. I got no microphone set up this time. I forgot it, left it at home. But the biggest news in the weather right now is Typhoon 13, known everywhere else as Typhoon Dolphin of all things. T13 is a massive storm. It's a bit asymmetrical, but we can call it about 1,200 kilometers across at the moment, and it's heading straight for Okinawa. Here are the current stats on T13 as they stand at about noon today, 6 August 2026. Obviously, T13 is going to pummel Okinawa something horrible, but Kyushu and parts of the southern Pacific coast of the Japanese mainland will also see some outer rain bands and wind from T13. Wave heights along the Pacific coast also will be greater than normal as T13 drives through. So the wildest thing about Typhoon 13 right now is its east-west movement. It's not normal north-south. So why is T13 moving the way it is? Why is it moving up toward the Japanese mainland? Well, the answer is that there is a lone high-pressure system in the mid-Pacific. This high is very strong and has a couple of extensions, which we're going to call ridges, which span out as far as to the Sea of Japan. Typhoons, for all their fury, are really just big low pressure systems, and high pressure areas do exert steering dominance on them. With a branch of high pressure sitting out over the Sea of Japan, the typhoon is forced to take a more southerly route toward Okinawa. That is to say, it's going to be more of an east-west direction. But once it rounds this ridge of high pressure, it is expected to turn north, and that will put it going into the Chinese mainland and the Korean peninsula. By then, of course, it will be a much weaker storm. Well, it will still bring heavy rains and possible flooding to those areas. And check this out. No sooner do we get past T13 than we have T14 down west of the Philippines called Kujira. Well, as I said, T14 is not expected to do much and will barely be a footnote on this year's typhoon season. However, at the same time, we're going to get Typhoon 15, and that will start to form in the West Pacific, and it will move northerly toward Japan. T15, however, is not expected to be anywhere nearly as strong as T13, and current tracks suggest that even though it will come toward Japan, it will curve farther up north and give Japan a full miss. There will be no Japan landfall for T15. By Sunday, August 9th, T15 will be heading up toward the Kuril Islands, far away from any landfall around Japan. So, what can we expect going forward? Well, once T13 cruises past Okinawa, much of the country should see temperatures fall just a bit. It's not going to be cold. Remember, it is still August, but this does kind of go against the usual typhoon movements, doesn't it? So what happens here is that low is pulling down wind from the more temperate north instead of the south, and that's going to give Japan a bit of midsummer relief over the weekend. So for much of Japan down to around the Shizuoka Hokuriku area, slightly cooler temps as Typhoons 13 and 15 start to pull down cool northerly air, giving us a little bit of a break. Expect a drop of between 3 to 6 degrees from what we're seeing today, but remember, it's not going to last forever. By the middle of next week, we'll be back into our summer weather again. From Nagoya on down, however, the summer heat will continue unabated. Highs of between 33 to 38 degrees, especially around the Nagoya, Osaka, Kyoto, Hiroshima, and Fukuoka urban areas. Kagoshima as well, where they had that horrible quake just last week. Highs of 37 degrees, which will certainly bring heat stress to any rescue and recovery crews working in that area. Okinawa, of course, in the meantime, right as we speak, is getting ready to get pummeled by T13. Post-storm, however, Naha can expect between 29 to 32 degrees going into next week with improving sky conditions. There will still be some upper level turbulent sky conditions in the wake of Typhoons 13 and 15. So that means that there will be the persistent possibility of pop-up thunderstorms and showers here and there. That's it for your weather recap in Japan. If you're in the path of Typhoon 13, you have our thoughts, and please try and get through it safely. For the rest of you, have a great evening, everyone. Love you. Take care.